What's happening, what's happening, what's happening? Of course, you know it's your boy B-Hot Radio Shout In. Stepping in the building, I got an artist that's tearing up the streets right now as we speak. Taylor Bennett, what's good with it,
B,
boss?
what's up with you, man?
Man, feeling good, feeling great. Now, I mean, Taylor, first of all, what's going on in the A? What got you maneuvering around in the city right now, man?
I'm in the A for a few reasons.
Yeah.
First off, I want to say I just love Atlanta. You know what I'm saying? Like, for real, though. Like, I really, I know a lot of people, and it's probably genuine love, because how can you not love Atlanta? But it's like, y'all hospitality is like second to none. Like everybody here is just like a thing where it's like everybody is so kind of just, communicative, and everybody, kind of letting you know, welcoming, you know what I'm saying? It's a beautiful thing to see, especially so many black folks out here. You know what I'm saying? So it's multiple reasons why I love it. But then, of course, coming to see you, you know what I'm saying?
Appreciate you pulling up.
You know what I'm saying? Pull up on the interview. And then I got Wild and Out on Friday. So I'm going there. Last time I did it, I didn't get the belt. So this time I'm not there for no games.
You going there to raise some hell in this thing.
For sure.
Okay, now Taylor, I got to talk to you about the music though, man.
Definitely.
I mean, I need to know, what was it that made you say, you know what, it's time for me to start jamming in this thing, man?
Yeah. Man, I think it was like, it was a lot of different things, man. I think it's, for one, the consistency of music. You know what I'm saying? I love music. Not just like current music. I listen to all types of music.
Yeah.
So like rock and roll, Queen, the Smiths, the Beatles, but like of course the classics, Sam Cooke, Smokey Robinson, Cruising is one of my favorite songs.
Yeah.
A lot of different artists. Diana Ross.
Yes, sir.
Like a lot of just different, genres of artists, and then of course a lot of hip hop. As well as a lot of alternative music. So it's like, I'm like, when it comes to music, that's how I time travel. Like that's how I get to see different, because for real, like I was born in 96, so it's like a lot of music I like to listen to is from before I was born, and a lot of it, even some of my parents, is like I grew up listening to my parents listening to this song. And it's like a thing where I believe you could kind of bridge a lot of the gap in terms of communication, through generations, and understand and learn yourself more. And that's, kind of what I've done. So that made me want to tap into the project in a different way,
What was it like trying to get some traction out here in the game, though, Taylor?
Man,
okay, you see your brother doing his thing, and he says, hey, bro, you got to get it how you live. What was going through your mind at that time when you realized that you had to go ahead and do the pull yourself up by the bootstraps?
Man, I think it was different. Like, in all honesty, I think it was a point where I was like confused by it, because I was like, man, how do I, one, make it to this level, and then two, a lot of folks in the industry, it's very typical for people to, work together when it comes to musically.
Yeah.
Not so much to where we are now, more is like we work together on the business side where I manage him, but like more of like, music. Like everybody do music together. And like that's, that's it's not an easy thing to do, because it's not easy to make hits, but it's sometimes easy to collaborate with your brother. So I was getting that, man, why we ain't, working? But what he was, what I believe he was doing, or what I didn't understand at the time, was he was already in that realm where he understood that if you get brought into the game, by somebody else, no matter, especially if it's a sibling, I would think, but also if it's somebody else, you get brought in the game, you don't have the same weight, because people always look at you with this way, like, how did that dude get here? Or not even how, but I know how, or they feel that that's why you're there, no matter how good you are. So it did me a favor, because now, people even look at me on some, it's almost like kind of respect thing, because they like, damn, like, your shit must be kind of fire, the old girl over there know what your name is and shit. Like, you know what I'm saying?
At what point was it that you realized that you was gaining traction and your star was starting to shine?
Man, that's a good question. I think, probably when I put out this song called New Chevy, and it's like a really old song. One of my best friends, Thelonious Stokes at the time, because I work with all my friends, like my manager behind the camera. That's one of my best friends I grew up with, independent. So like, and they also, my homies, we really smart. You know what I'm saying? We all smart. You know what I'm saying?
Damn right.
So it's like a thing where we gotta, you know what I'm saying?
You gotta think it through.
On me. So one of my best friends, Thelonious Stokes, we were like teenagers. He shot it, and it featured Chicago artist King Louis.
Yeah.
That was like heavily known in the city. And we shot a video for it, and we put the record out, and MTV hit us up, and they was like, yo, we want to, like premiere this, like blah, blah, blah. It was my first time ever being on like a TV or anything like that. And after that, it wasn't so much of just that interaction, but I started to see people actually following me on my Instagram and like actually saying like, I love this song, New Chevy, like, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, I would say that was probably, I want to say that had to be probably like, when do you think that was, New Chevy? Yeah, like 2016. No, it was like 2016. That's right. Yeah.
Okay, so now Taylor, break it down to me though, man. When you gaining traction, you realizing that it's starting to get crazy out here, man.
Yeah.
That breakthrough time when you able to really say, okay, it's time for me to take this show on the road. We leaving Chicago. We about to go ahead and do some shows in this thing. What was going on around that time?
I think at that time when I was thinking about going out on the road, for the first time that I ever went out on the road, it was a thing where I was like, I was excited, man, you know, because, you know, I love music and I also love the business of music and I love like all aspects of it. So it's like, I love creating the music just as much as I love like getting to the venue first and making sure everything is straight and like thinking about how are people, you know what I'm saying, gonna come inside or like, you know, how the cover art is gonna not just match like the song, but like overall, how does it become a marketing tool? Like what can it turn into? Like can it become an accessory? Can it be like, and that allows me to get, you know, a lot of times deep into the art in ways where before, back in the day, I couldn't, you know what I'm saying? So, you know, like I think when I was thinking about tour, I was thinking about fun, man, because I've always wanted to go on a tour. I always wanted to have my tour bus. I always wanted to, you know, and I always wanted to go out and see fans and like, you know, experience that. And it's amazing, man. You know, nothing's better than your dreams coming true.
Facts.
You know what I'm saying?
Come on.
So yeah, man. And I think like ever since then, something that I think I have been very blessed with is that throughout my career, I've grown with my fans. And, you know, as my career has grown, my fans have also grown and we've also matured. And it's like subject matters and things that, you know, were definitely so popular in a lot of my music in my teenage days are still things that are relatable in certain times because there's always a place and time for everything. But it's also something that has kind of settled in the background and more in the forefront is self-expression, being yourself. And those things, you know, being supported through my fans is a beautiful thing because then that, like I said, my music that I like to listen to transcends the generations where older folks will listen to it, younger folks will listen to it, you know, different backgrounds. And, you know, that's really why I make music, you know what I'm saying, bring folks together.
When you speak of being yourself, I know you got that Champion tour going on.
Yeah, man.
I mean, break that down. How did that collaboration with Champion come along? And then just break down the whole Be Yourself movement, though.
For sure, man. Yeah, definitely. So, I mean, first of all, shout out to Champion, right? The way that it came along is almost very interesting because it didn't really come along. And I think me and my dad, we had a conversation about this. My father is my manager and senior advisor as well.
Okay, then.
And he's also like my best friend. But so we talk a lot. But something that we talked about was the idea of creating a moment, right? Because I think a lot of people feel, and it's just been my experience, so it's not everybody's experience, but it's like, when we were talking about those moments that I had, those were all moments that even when I didn't realize it back then, I had created. Like it was different things that had ramped up and led up to it. And it's not just as simple as saying like, oh, I threw a show, but it's like the hours, the time, the dedication. And you can have that in anything. It doesn't have to just be music. It's the discipline of it. You know what I'm saying? Moments are created based off of different things that you do. And a lot of times you could wait for a moment, but a lot of times you could really... And that moment might not come. Like a lot of times that I waited for different things that I thought might happen. Somebody might put me on. I might end up on this feature. I might get on this tour. And a lot of times those things don't happen. Very rarely, sometimes they do though. But a lot of times for me, they don't happen. And then I think it's kind of similar with, you know, your show, which is why I love it so much, is like you've gone to your own space, you've had these different things occur, and you've created your narrative where now you have more creative control and freedom to do what you do.
My God.
So it's like the same shit
I'm with you.
With me, you know what I'm saying? So basically to say that, me and my pops got together because I've had this brand Be Yourself since 2018. And it's based off of a project that I made in 2018, Be Yourself, that was focused on self-expression, but also the idea of creating a project that could be a house or a community for people to express themselves and feel comfortable. You know what I'm saying? And basically, I made this clothing brand, and really more of it's like a lot of hoodies. We've done some T-shirts and sweats. Now we have a much more extensive line, but back then it was something that started because when I was making the merchandise for Be Yourself, the projects Be Yourself, I've always been somebody already where I'm like, I don't really enjoy wearing big logos, like big anything. It could be, but I definitely don't really enjoy wearing like people's faces on my shirt unless it's like of in memory or like, you know, type thing. Like if somebody's still alive and is wearing a shirt, it's kind of weird just for me. So like, and like I said, a lot of the stuff that I've been doing over the last years has been from the direction of what I'd like to see it as. So I was thinking when I was creating this merchandise, I've never really liked to have a big face or somebody's big name on my shirt, so what kind of merchandise should I create? And I really couldn't think of anything, or I felt like I couldn't think of anything. So what I started doing was just creating hoodies that were embroidered that had the title of the album covered just on the chest. I was wearing it to shows to promote the album. And the next thing I know, people started like commenting like, yo, when you dropping these hoodies, blah, blah, blah. Put the hoodies out, they started going crazy. And it became like a really big part of not just my business in terms of, you know, the profit, which is amazing. Shout out to all the supporters. But in terms of networking and being able to grow my brand and also push the idea of people being themselves and that self-expression. So fast forward, me and my dad have, you know, worked on this brand for a long time. And we're thinking that it's the time to make a collaboration, but I've always been very sketchy about who I do business with and also what they represent. Like I have a bigger thing, more of like, what is your brand about? Because I never do anything for money and I never do anything I don't have fun doing.
Come on, what I'm saying? I'm with you.
But when it comes to like usually brands and working with people, it's always like, what are you doing? You know what I'm saying? And what does your brand represent? You know what I'm saying? Not even so much of like all the other things that surround it. So when we were thinking about a company, I thought about a couple different clothing lines, but Champion just really stuck. And I'll tell you a few reasons why. First reason is there's nobody from like a baby to like a grandma that probably doesn't have a piece of Champion in their closet. And it's for multiple reasons. It's affordable, it's comfortable, it's fashionable, it's active, it's, you know, there's so many different kind of things. But then also on a whole nother level, the idea of champion, the name of the brand, championing yourself.
That's right.
And I felt like that really aligned with the idea of be yourself. And when I started thinking about this idea, me and my dad were going back and forth, and I said, what about the Be Yourself, Be a Champion tour? And Be Yourself, Be a Champion, I love the wordplay. We basically put together this strategy. It was pretty comprehensive, and the idea was to create this merchandise line collaboration focused primarily on mental health and physical health. So it's like we got the shorts, we got the crew necks, we got the t-shirts, and it's loungewear plus workout wear. So you could watch Disney Channel or you could do 40, you know, miles. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, exactly. And it's also a thing where that also allows me to open that community more past that project. But now, first day of school, something that's affordable, something that's fresh, and something that's also pushing positivity. And I feel like there's a lot of people that, you know, I really look up to. That one person that I could say I was just with him over the weekend, Dame Dash, that I had an honor to meet this weekend. He said something that was really cool. He was saying that you got to entertain people. You know, because it's not enough to just try to instruct people on how to do it. If it's not interesting, nobody's going to want to do it. Anybody, not just children, like everybody. So you got to figure out a way to entertain people. And I think a big thing about being positive is that it's always kind of marketed, you know, not always, but when I saw it as a kid, like in a whack way, you know what I'm saying? But, you know, so we tried, so that was the idea. We wrote it up. Shout out to my amazing agency, UTA, United Talent Agency. They were able to connect us with some folks over at Champion, and Champion loved the idea. And then as we kept talking about it, just kept progressing the shows and ideas. We just kept talking, and they were like, came to the end of, let's do a tour. Let's do the merchandise drop. Let's do a tour surrounding the project, coming of age. But then also, which is super dope, even bigger, to expand the community, because I had voiced to them how important it was, like, and the fact we were doing the merchandise is cool. With the tour, we went to colleges and they were all free shows. And the idea of that is to go somewhere where people are coming of age with the project, but then also to create that environment where they can go and they can express themselves, listen to music. And we had different things on. We gave out tons of merchandise.
Y'all didn't leave not one damn stone unturned with this rollout.
Thank you, man. I super appreciate it, man.
I'm with you.
So, and I mean, that was a huge, part of it. We're still, of course, doing it because I'm on BI right now.
Hey, we working.
Okay,
coming of age, the project though, man. What was it like putting that thing together? And then for you coming of age, man, what was that like for you getting grown in this thing?
Man, it was, I think, for me, coming of age, it was different. I grew up in Chicago where it's very, very talented, but it's like a very segregated city, and like the resources are, you could see like from a helicopter 500,000 feet above the air how segregated the resources are as well. Damn. Like, you know what I'm saying, where it's a thing where the South Side looks totally different from the West Side. The West Side looks totally different from the North Side. The North Side looks totally different from downtown. And then there's also different pockets. And it's also based, there's a lot of history in Chicago with redlining and, so many different things that kind of held different black folks and different people in these different spaces or places. Section 8 where, it was all these towers that were built and then torn down and people scattered and all types of crazy. Fucked up shit. Just to be 100% happen to black people primarily, and not even just primarily, I would say minorities and a lot of other folks in Chicago. So growing up there, I grew up on the South Side, and art is huge, like in Chicago. Like a lot of people now, of course, we talk about music because there's so many talented, amazing artists, Dirk, Chance, Herb, all these different people doing their thing, but it's also still to this day huge on art, but we still have and have always had like some really great artists, always had great food, all types of like, just different things that growing up kind of became my cornerstone of culture. You know what I'm saying? Extending past, just me being myself. And those are things that, one, stuck with me, but also things that I learned
coming of age.
You know what I'm saying? And they come with age. You know what I'm saying? So, that's really, I feel like Chicago for me, in a nutshell. It's a beautiful city, man. You been to Chicago before?
Yeah.
Of course, right?
I've been there back in the day for the Taste of Chicago.
My
granddaddy moved from Atlanta to Chicago back in the day. He stayed up there. All I remember is I went up there and them houses were so damn close together. I'm like, what the hell's going on around here?
Yeah. So the houses are super duper close together, bungalows and shit.
Exactly.
And that's all based, again, it's like there's a lot of different things that have happened with like the politics in Chicago all the way down to the railroads and like the trains, transit systems and shit, crooked shit, you know what I'm saying? The reasons why things are the way they are, but people don't even know. Like we walk every day, like we don't realize that shit is this close.
Come on,
we have like gangways and little things like that. So
answer me this though, Taylor. Okay, when you think about Chicago and you're thinking about the violence up there, is it as bad as it's being portrayed nationally?
No, of course not.
Because they make it seem like you can't even come out your damn house.
No, of course not. I mean, like anything, and I think we all know this, like most things that the news reports on is like propaganda because it's like monetized, right? So like not saying like there's of course official sources that do come with some real stuff, but like most things are based off of clicks or purchases. So it's like we're gonna say the craziest thing, and then hopefully if you open it, like we'll explain more, and you'll be like, oh, that's not that crazy. But it's like you read the headlines, they know that's what sells, So no, I don't think it's as crazy. I think that Chicago definitely needs a lot of resources, but I think more important than anything, there's so much that people can learn from Chicago because there's so much history in Chicago. Through, people talk about the gangs and the violence of the gangs, but Al Capone, there's been for years, in so many different stages and places, Chicago has just been like a violent, murder, bloody, fucked up, kind of place. So it's been like that. It's still like that. But again, I think the thing that has changed is there are different things that happen, like the redlining, like Section 8, like, different gangs that were, either unorganized or or they were organized originally, but then they were disorganized by, you know, different.
Pro.
Yeah, there we go. You can say it. I love it. Like the police, whatever motherfuckers want to call them. But it's like a thing where there is, of course, a ripple or, you know, an effect from everything that happens. And you can't be responsible for fixing anything if you don't own the property.
Come on now.
You know what I'm saying? And that's something that I just have been, you know, learning and being more open to the idea of, is that a lot of things are out of our control because we don't own these places. We don't own these spots. And not to say that we should or we have the profit to be buying these places, but just to understand the idea of where that level of control really lies.
But that's what goes on down here in Atlanta too, because we buy the property up. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, y'all go crazy.
Yeah, we going in there. We gonna get our houses. We might even get a few commercial properties at the same time too. So we still got a little bit more of a say so. Having your father there working with you, man, what difference did he make in the game for you, being able to have him?
It's just a great thing to be able to, one, have a relationship with your father where there's a lot of different things that, like, so Jordans, right? Like, there's a lot of kids that, or at least when I was growing up, they like Jordans because usually Jordans are like recreated from like a different generation. So maybe their father most likely had the same shoes, and it's like a moment, like, and I've seen it so many different times. So it's like a similar thing, but like in terms of conversation, where it's like me being able to be closer with my father and understanding what he's gone through and really respecting the things that he's done in his life helped me be able to see the possibilities and also have a better understanding, even though things are a little bit different with technology and shit. It's still the basic, you know, same. And that is, and that's why I love my dad so much. That is, I think, the purpose of a father and son's relationship, is to be able to guide him and teach him. And, you know, still to this day, like I said, there's things, because it doesn't just end with college. It doesn't just end with education. It doesn't just end with, you know, even conversations. A lot of times there could be things where something might happen in business and I'm like, you know, I want to call this dude and I want to tell this dude, this is how I feel about it. This is what I'm on. And my dad would be like, I think you should wait. You should chill. You should think about it. You should. And it's like those kind of things that really make a huge difference in anybody's business, because those can be, you know, make it or break it a lot of time situations and opportunities, and you have to move gracefully and have balance through a lot of these things. And those are all things that I've learned from my father, you know.
What kind of game has your brother been able to lay on you?
A lot, man. You know, my brother was the first independent artist that I saw, you know, and you know, I worked with him originally when we were younger on a lot of the different campaigns and things he did in Chicago to do like some of the sold out shows and the first listening parties and those little things. But I think what I got to see from his success is the idea of ownership and understanding your value, and also the belief that one day in some way you'll make it click, as they like to call it. And I think it's like a thing where we live in a world where there is money in some places and in a lot of different businesses that we're a part of, especially the entertainment industry. There's a lot of different folks that have money and have, you know, cash to put out so they can have ownership of something.
That's right.
But, you know, I appreciate him because he kind of showed me, like we were just talking about houses, it's not really looked at as a house. You know what I'm saying? And even if you know, he just put that perspective kind of in my head, like, of even if I, you know, I'd rather rent out my house, I'd rather license my house than ever sell my house. Like, I'd rather be doing sync deals and making monthly pays and becoming dependent on my dreams. Versus somebody telling me that they believe in my dreams and because of that, they would like to buy it and then have a percentage of it when it comes true. You know what I'm saying? It's like a crazy thing.
I'm with you. Lastly, Taylor, when it comes to this music, man, what do folks need to be expecting? Those that haven't already got the album, what do they need to be looking out for when they pick that thing up?
Man, when you guys pick up the project, I think you guys need to just be looking for positive, good vibes. It's a lot of nostalgic records on there. It's a lot of dope bars on there. It's really a project that I had fun and I enjoyed creating, and I'm loving to see all the success from it, because there's really nothing better than when you create something truly from your heart and then people
receive it. Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Because that makes you feel like people like you for you.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
Come on.
That's how that transcends to me. And I love that, man.
I could dig it. How can folks contact you if they trying to get down with the movement, man?
Man, make sure you guys follow me on Instagram at Taylor Bennett. Make sure you guys follow me on Twitter at _Taylor Bennett. Of course, on all platforms, Coming of Age is out now. Make sure you get that. And, most importantly, be yourself. You know what I'm saying? And continue to do it. My dude, appreciate you coming through this thing, man. Wish you nothing but the best and much success. Be High Radio, shout it. Taylor Bennett. Holla at y'all in a minute, man. We gone.